touch her?
I didn't touch her. I mean, I didn't.
Think I am stupid.
How far would you really go for love? Imagine selling your home, leaving friends and family behind, and moving across the world just for a chance at forever. That's exactly what 6 couples are doing in the much-anticipated 7th season of 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way, premiering on September 8th, 2025. In this season, we follow 4 brand new couples and 2 returning fan favorites as Americans uproot their lives and relocate to their partners' home countries, from India and England to Aruba, France, Colombia, and Tasmania. The drama starts the moment the emotional preview opens. Khloe confesses, "I'm leaving a 6-figure job to move to Aruba because I fell in love with a man on a pirate ship," and bursts into laughter, all while nodding to the unbelievable leap she's about to take. Meanwhile, Mannon blurts out, "The American dream is actually killing me," prompting Anthony to agree. "So we are moving to France to save our marriage." All of this emotion gives us a sense that this season isn't just about long-distance love, it's about survival, adaptation, and redefining personal identity on foreign soil. Each couple brings with them a different flavor of upheaval, culture shock, intense conflict, and big emotional reckonings. One couple travels to a quiet English village. Another ends up sharing a bed with a toddler in Paris. A third faces deep trust issues under the Tasmanian sun. And yet another struggles with family skepticism and jealousy in tropical Aruba. And then there are the returning stories that fans know all too well. Jenny and Sumit are back. And, for the first time, moving in with his parents in India, navigating family boundaries and financial strain after years of cultural conflict. At the same time, Luke and Madeline return from Love in Paradise to plan a lavish wedding in Colombia, only to discover that wedding stress, zero budget compromises, and trust issues might threaten their future together. In one brutal explosion, Madeline hurls a dessert at Luke during a heated argument, calling him out. She asks if he thinks she's effing stupid before tearing off in tears. This season promises ripped-apart expectations, emotional breakdowns, intense cross-cultural learning, and maybe even heartbreak. So buckle up, because these 6 couples are literally moving their entire lives across continents, and the impact is going to be as raw as it is real. Luke and Madeline return to The Other Way after first appearing on Love in Paradise, now setting roots in Colombia with plans for a lavish wedding complete with 4 dresses, 0 compromises, and rising anxieties over finances and fidelity. Luke's arrival is dramatic. He shouts, "Madeline, here I come," at the airport, walking into an emotional reunion that quickly gives way to tension once reality sets in. The central conflict explodes in a tremor moment when Madeline accuses Luke of touching another woman. Luke denies it, hesitantly. "I didn't touch her. I didn't." Mad, she screams, "You think I am effing stupid?" and hurls their floral dessert all over his face before storming off in tears. It's a cinematic blow-up that signals how fragile their trust, already tested, is about to get. Reddit fans have raised eyebrows about their dynamic. One viewer commented on an airport scene where Madeline repeatedly hit Luke with balloons and props and noted he visibly flinched, causing concern. The clip shows that she consistently hits him. The fact that he flinched when she was mad makes me assume it's not the case. That nuance hints at issues beneath the fiery flirtation, a pattern some see as more than playful teasing. Combined with explosive fights and a troubling age difference, Luke and Madeline's dynamic feels unstable early on. As they settle into life in Colombia, additional tensions surface. Luke deals with wedding planning costs and prenuptial expectations, while Madeline pushes for validation and respect. The extremes of their personalities, his insecurity, her impulsive emotional expression, make for a volatile combination. Yet, underneath the conflict, their emotional investment is real. They love big. Luke apparently moved across continents at Madeline's ultimatum, "You need to move or else." And she responds with intensity too volatile for comfort. It's a classic other way paradox. Passionate beginnings can ignite, but the flame may burn through the foundation beneath. This couple's narrative is about more than romance. It's about the implosion of trust when plans collide with raw emotion and relationship scaffolding reveals itself to be paper thin. As viewers watch them navigate Colombia's landscapes, from airport reunions to wedding venues, emotional confrontations to missteps in budgeting, they'll witness whether love can anchor amid chaos or whether identity differences and unresolved trust wounds tear them apart. Luke and Madeline may be memorable for dramatic gestures and explosive dialogue, but season 7 uses their story to ask, can love built on intensity mature into mutual respect? Or will impulsive outbursts and unacknowledged insecurities be the undoing? Jenny Slaughton and Sumit Singh return in season 7 after years of drama, culminating in the official blessing from his family. Yet the latest chapter opens with a major shift. Due to a financial crisis, they are now moving in with Sumit's parents in India, ending their independence and putting private life under constant scrutiny. In the trailer, a relative bluntly remarks to Jenny, "What's the use of hoarding old clothes?" And moments later, she snaps back, "I have no plans of staying with the family permanently," followed by an emphatic "fuck no" when another family member assumes she drinks alcohol. The scene crystallizes the power dynamic. Jenny's boundary clashes with in-laws, who still view her through old stereotypes, a reality made more intense by physical proximity. Online fans express mixed reactions. One user wrote, "I'm very over Jenny and Sumit," and added, "Moving in with his parents will be a disaster." Another chimed in, "Oh, Sumit never takes Jenny's side." Yet some viewers still root for them. They are one of the few couples who I actually had 100% faith in being true and genuine. Inside the house, viewers are likely to witness generation clash at its most claustrophobic, cultural expectations, lifestyle critique, and emotional micromanagement from in-laws. Jenny, who long resisted Sumit's mother's demands in earlier seasons, now finds herself directly subject to them. At the same time, Sumit appears comfortable with familial dependence, fueling speculation like Reddit commentary about whether he embraced this living arrangement for stability more than for love. Away from family drama, the couple's day-to-day struggles reveal core relationship tension. Jenny's perceived need to control Sumit's behavior versus his relatively traditional dependence. One Reddit post comments on how Jenny expects him to behave like a retired old man, even discouraging him from working or living like someone in his 30s. And yet, beneath the recurring conflicts lies a deep emotional investment, born from years of overcoming judgment, secret marriage, language barriers, and long stretches of separation. The narrative arc of season 7 positions their storyline as a crucible test. Can they sustain a marriage already strained by age gap, cultural friction, and unconventional beginnings when literal walls close in on them? Their presence in season 7 promises no less than a raw examination of assimilation, identity, and marital endurance in an environment where privacy disappears and love must coexist with tradition. Jenny and Sumit's journey poses a central question. When every room in the house holds history and criticism, can love remain enough to keep them together? Paya and Dylan's story begins with decades of back-and-forth distance and an undeniable chemistry that defied a 20-year age gap. She's a vivacious, exotic dancer from Texas. He is a laid-back Aussie who has always existed 5 time zones away, until now. After years of on-again, off-again love, Paya has packed her bags for Tasmania, determined to transform their unconventional relationship into a real-life future together. The welcome scene in the trailer sets the tone. Paya greets Dylan at the airport with unabashed passion, kissing, licking, and embracing him while he stands there holding an entire orchid and a stuffed kangaroo toy. It's a bold, unforgettable moment that hints at both their fiery connection and the theatrical style Paya brings to their romance. Once they arrive in Tasmania, the honeymoon period quickly gives way to real-world complications. Paya is suddenly adjusting to a remote environment very different from Texan nightlife. Rain-soaked landscapes, quieter routines, and a climate that challenges more than her literal comfort. Meanwhile, Dylan's mother lives just 5 minutes away, and her close presence looms large over the couple's daily life. The season teases trust wounds rooted in past misunderstandings that haven't healed entirely, and a looming tension that might test Paya's adaptability even more. As an exotic dancer, Paya brings bold confidence and theatricality, but relocating all the way to Tasmania is uncharted territory. She's trading cheers for isolation, the familiar stage for the unknown quiet. She must navigate a tight-knit community, distance from any familiar social scene, and a partner whose lifestyle and family dynamic differ in fundamental ways. Dylan, in turn, must balance loyalty to his mother with building privacy and boundaries in his life with Paya. Cultural and generational friction simmers beneath the surface. Paya is outspoken and expressive. Dylan and his mother may be more reserved, more embedded in Tasmanian norms. The power dynamic is subtle. Paya, older and financially independent, versus Dylan, younger and possibly less stable. Their roles may invert expectations in a deeply traditional environment. Yet the storyline suggests that beneath every dramatic gesture and flashy introduction is a deeper emotional tether. They've chosen each other despite geography, age, and life stages. The question becomes, can passion alone sustain them when loneliness, social alienation, and trust drift threaten to make Tasmania feel more isolating than idyllic? In many ways, Paya and Dylan embody the core premise of The Other Way. Whether love survives the move depends not just on romantic intensity, but on adaptation, mutual respect, and resilience under pressure. Their journey tests whether two people from wildly different worlds can merge into one life, and whether their spark will flourish or falter in the quieter, colder reality of Tasmania. Fans should watch for the cracks to appear: intimate dinner scenes, conflict over family involvement, Paya missing social warmth, and the question, can emotional firework turn out to be enough to sustain love in a place far from where either originally called home? Khloe and Johnny's relationship reads like a real-life romantic fantasy until reality sets in. Khloe, a successful Boston professional earning a 6-figure salary, explained in the trailer, "I'm leaving a 6-figure job to move to Aruba because I fell in love with a man on a pirate ship." Johnny works as a pirate boat tour guide, part charming adventurer, part flirtatious entertainer, and it's a job that Khloe says tests her every day. "I really want to trust Johnny, but it's hard when he's a booze cruise host." Upon arrival in Aruba, she's trading winter in Boston for endless sun, ocean breeze, and Johnny's entire tour boat lifestyle. Soon, that alluring charm reveals its complications. Khloe quickly confronts him with her concerns. "My trust issues come from your actions." In return, Johnny defends his independence. "I want to go out with my friends, okay? You can't control me like that." That tension reaches a boiling point when Khloe demands, "Respect me. Respect what I fucking say." Her emotional plea hints at deeper fractures in their foundation. As Khloe gets swept into the highs and lows of Aruban life, the clash between her controlled, career-driven American background and Johnny's free-spirited tourist world grows sharper. She faces doubt from family and friends who worry Johnny's flirtatious day job may jeopardize faith in their relationship, and she begins to internalize their concerns. Her decision to uproot is bold, but isolating. Khloe leaves behind familiarity and security for a rugged, sun-soaked island that thrives on tourism, and Johnny's job puts her in constant proximity to other women. Meanwhile, Johnny insists on his autonomy, resisting the effort to placate Khloe's insecurities. Their intimacy becomes a battleground where love collides with jealousy. Beyond the romantic florals and turquoise beaches lies the pressure cooker of small space life, long-time trust issues, and no fixed routine. Khloe may have found excitement in Johnny's world, but excitement doesn't equal stability, and the emotional economy of their relationship begins to demand more than chemistry. It demands boundaries. Despite the drama, there's no shortage of compelling scenes. Late-night confrontations after cruise shifts, Khloe observing Johnny in flirt mode with tourists, and emotionally raw trips to her family in Boston via video call. All of it becomes theater, a test of whether love built on adrenaline can endure routine, repair, and compromise. Khloe and Johnny's storylines drill into the franchise's core premise. Moving for love might feel like fantasy, but maintaining it requires trust, emotional labor, and mutual respect. Can a former corporate professional embrace Johnny's boisterous world without losing herself or tearing them apart? Their journey is navigated through cocktail hours and boat laughter, but the deeper currents run through trust, respect, and the capacity to withstand temptation when your partner's career invites it daily. It's not just about moving continents. It's about whether love can anchor when the sea is always tossing. Anthony and Mannon arrive in season 7 already at a breaking point. Married and parenting a toddler, they confess that their marriage is hanging by a thread, and they're heading to France in a desperate bid to salvage it. As Mannon puts it bluntly in the trailer, the American dream is actually killing me, and Anthony finishes the thought. So we are moving to France to save our marriage. They arrive in France weighed down by emotional exhaustion, financial anxiety, and surprisingly little room to breathe, even literally. With a toddler in tow and minimal personal space, the couple is literally doubling up in the same bed. Their life now comes with the reality of shared stress, zero downtime, and emotional stakes that feel much higher than visa deadlines or long-distance text. From the moment they land, moments of cuteness in the trailer, like a tongue-in-cheek date to a stinky goat farm, are overshadowed by an undercurrent of unease, family friction, budget blow-ups, and unavoidable in-laws who may not fully support the decision to move. There's a clear idea that this relocation is less about adventure and more about survival. Anthony and Mannon's dynamic suggests a hard emotional truth. They're not testing Cupid's aim, they're negotiating damage control. The fatigue and frustration show up in Claudia's forced laughter at the goat farm, late-night whispers about money running out, and silent moments of resentment when one partner feels the other isn't pulling their weight. Unlike other couples who face family overwhelm or distance-induced jealousy, Anthony and Mannon's central conflict is built on intimacy deprivation. No space, no serenity, and the relentless demands of caring for a toddler in a foreign land. It's a pressure cooker that threatens to either rebuild them or break them completely. Yet beneath the tension, there are hints of what drew them together in the first place. Loyalty, shared history, and the willingness to fight for marriage and family. The question becomes, can relocation reset their relationship, rekindle a flame, or just amplify all the cracks? This storyline taps into pressures most married couples face: burnout, finances, and loss of autonomy. But the twist is the cultural dimension. Feeling like an outsider in France, negotiating language and norms, and confronting family expectations in a new homeland. What begins as a romantic gamble quickly morphs into a test of endurance and emotional investment. In many ways, Anthony and Mannon illustrate how the other way turns idealistic romance into real-world logistics, and what happens when love isn't enough to outlast budget constraints, space limits, and simmering frustration. As viewers follow them, they may relate to the exhaustion of marriage, the desire for escape, and the hope that uprooting might reboot what's been lost. Their journey isn't about glamour or tropical backdrops. It's about whether marriage can survive overload, whether love can heal fatigue, and whether starting over in France can truly be enough to save what's at stake. Greta and Matthew's story begins in the most 21st century romantic fashion, a vegan dating app. Like-minded, plant-based cat lovers, they bonded over their shared quirks and unconventional humor. Once they matched, the chemistry was instant and real enough for Greta to leave Oklahoma behind and relocate to a quiet village in England where Matthew lives. Upon arrival, she trades wide-open plains for cobblestone paths and centuries-old stone cottages, but the fairy tale scenery quickly gives way to the logistical reality. She is now living under the same roof as Matthew's parents. No more privacy, no soft landing, just daily routines, cultural dissonance, and in-laws to navigate. The couple presents a picture of sweetness and humor, light banter about cooking beans or walking the cat, but the pressure cooker of cohabitation begins to show cracks beneath the surface. Small jokes about laundry or kitchen etiquette become heated. What once felt quirky is now invasive. Greta struggles with British understatement and stale humor, while Matthew is caught between defending his family dynamics and supporting his partner's needs. Fans already anticipate a central tension. Can their shared values, veganism, cats, and introspective lifestyles translate into real resilience against geographic and interpersonal upheaval? TLC's official announcement hints at trouble early on, foreshadowing culture shock, blurred expectations, and misaligned rhythms between Oklahoma's straightforwardness and an English village's slow pace of life. Despite hints at tension, not everything is conflict. There are moments of cozy domestic charm. Greta learning to bake scones with Matthew's mother, sheep-counting walks through misty hills, quiet talk about future plans in a garden, away from the drama. These could offer glimpses of how love might adapt or unravel. Yet, as the season progresses, the narrative promises tipping points. Isolated moments, a family dinner that goes sideways, Greta's frustration building over lack of space or energy, Matthew avoiding confrontation to maintain peace. Will they find their rhythm, or will relentless compromise exhaust their bond? In essence, Greta and Matthew's storyline is less about glam continence than about intimacy under strain, living with strangers who act like family, shedding old comforts, and trying desperately to merge two small worlds, one Oklahoma-based and one English-rooted, into a single life. Their juxtaposition encapsulates the other way's central theme. Love may bring you across oceans, but surviving the move is a different journey altogether. As fans will watch their path from hopeful newlyweds to potential emotional crossroads, one thing is clear. Quiet villages hold thunderous challenges when two people collide on the road to forever. In Season 7 of 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way, the tension isn't just in airport reunions or wedding planning, it's woven into the fabric of identity, space, and emotional change. Culture shock features prominently. Greta's shift from Oklahoma to rural England, Pattaya's move from Texas nightlife to Tasmania's rain-soaked quiet, and Jenny's transition from independent living to sharing walls with Sumit's parents in India all illustrate how adapting to new norms, foods, social routines, and communication styles can fracture intimacy. Language differences or unfamiliar norms create daily friction. Couples rarely arrive fluent in their partner's language or aware of cultural expectations. This isn't exotic travel, it's immersion under pressure. Whether it's adjusting to British understatement, French mealtime routines, Colombian wedding ceremony expectations, or deference in Indian households, couples frequently confront norms they're unprepared for. These unspoken rules become battlegrounds over privacy, lifestyle, and identity. Trust and jealousy have long defined the other way narrative, and this season doubles down. Khloe and Johnny face recurring conflict over Johnny's job as a flirtatious pirate boat guide, and Khloe struggled to feel secure while he interacts with tourists. Luke and Madeline's trust implosion, highlighted by the shocking dessert smash scene, is a high-octane example of how easily betrayal can be perceived when insecurity meets cultural misunderstanding. Past fans have raised concerns about boundary posting behavior. One user remarked on how Madeline's physical jabs at Luke made him visibly flinch, raising questions about emotional safety versus playful behavior. Family dynamics and generational pressure translate differently abroad than in America. The discovery of Sumit's parents' role, seeing Jenny as dependent, critical of her, and unsatisfied with her presence, brings Indian family expectations into direct confrontation. One family member's remark about hoarding old clothes and Jenny's ensuing outburst fracturing the facade of independence shows how difficult assimilation can feel when familial judgment is immediate and unrelenting. Similarly, Paya must navigate Dylan's mother, who was literally next door, a presence that exposes lifestyle differences, generational norms, and needed boundaries the couple may not yet have mastered. Financial stress underpins many conflicts. For Anthony and Mannon, a move to France is pitched as salvation, but hidden beneath the romantic framing lie shared beds, sleepless nights with their toddler, and the crushing cost of caregiving without personal space. Their relationship feels underfunded by emotional and monetary resources, and the season teases that this pressure cooker could either rebuild them or gaslight them into desperation. Luke and Madeline's wedding plans, lavish, multi-dress, zero-budget compromise, adds another layer. Extravagant expectations colliding with reality, threatening to derail even a hopeful union. Adaptation, identity, and emotional labor emerge as the deeper themes. The other way forces couples to ask, who do they become in a new place? Are they still the person who once identified as a U.S. professional, entertainer, or independent thinker when every routine, language nuance, and reaction is foreign? Love becomes a negotiation of identity as much as intimacy. Fans on Reddit often criticize couples for lacking cultural preparation, noting that many embark on this journey without learning their partner's language or norms, contributing to deeper misunderstandings and resentment. In many ways, Season 7 reframes the franchise's core tension. Moving continents is easier than moving hearts through family judgment, anonymity, financial strain, and social isolation. The couple showcase different facets. Greta navigating passive aggression under one roof, Anthony and Mannon battling burnout with none of their socially safe anchors, Paya balancing passion with isolation, Khloe testing trust in an environment built for flirtation, and Jenny and Luke confronting emotional firewalls of past patterns and unmet expectations. Ultimately, this season proves that emotional stakes rise far above visa paperwork. Drama isn't just tears or fights, it's navigating homes without belonging, routines without rhythm, and love under constant scrutiny. When couples uproot for love, they trade comfort for challenge. And Season 7 asks, will love adapt or will it collapse under the weight of survival, compromise, and identity loss? Season 7 hits the ground running with emotional peaks clearly designed to leave fans talking long after the credits roll. From the explosive dessert in the face moment to emotional reunions and fragile trust moments, these scenes define the season's emotional heartbeat. One of the most jaw-dropping scenes features Meline accusing Luke of touching another woman. "You think I am f***ing stupid?" Before slamming a floral dessert into his face and storming off in tears. It's cinematic escalation that speaks volumes about underlying insecurity, mistrust, and the consequences of betrayal in relationships under pressure. Khloe's storyline delivers a similarly raw moment when she tearfully demands autonomy and respect. Respect me. Respect what I say. Scenes show her watching Johnny flirt on his pirate boat with tourists, her internal struggle battling over trust while uprooted from her former life. Pattaya's passionate reunion with Dylan is as flamboyant as it is emotional. Airport kisses, orchids, and stuffed kangaroo gifts make for high-energy drama. But soon after, viewers see tension simmer as she adjusts to isolation in Tasmania and a mother-in-law living just next door. The juxtaposition of sensual theatrics and quiet vulnerability makes their arc uniquely compelling. Greta and Matthew's quieter frustration builds tension in subtler ways. Cultural friction with Matthew's parents, passive-aggressive behavior around household routines, and emotional fatigue behind their sweet banter. These slower burns suggest emotional overload can be just as destabilizing as public blowouts. Meanwhile, Anthony and Mannon face dramatic strain under the weight of family, childcare, and finances. Snippets from previews, whispered money worries, cramped living quarters with their toddler, and visibly exhausted reactions highlight a relational battle fueled by proximity and burnout rather than fantasy. The trailer alone teases emotional fallout across the board. Tearful phone calls home, physical confrontations, stifled arguments, and heartbreaking homecomings that contrast sharply with the sunshine of foreign landscapes. Every couple is shown unmade by moments of emotional reveal, anger, regret, exhaustion represented visually via tight close-ups and impactful B-roll. Reddit buzz confirms that fans are already reacting to these dramatic moments. Viewers are dividing over whether intensity equals genuine connection or just theatrical conflict. One Reddit thread noted discomfort at Madeline's musicality. He visibly flinched, suggesting concern beyond just playful friction. The emotional tapestry this season weaves is undeniably rich, from explosive trust collapse to subtle frustration, cultural loneliness to parental scrutiny. Every couple faces turning points that could strengthen or shatter what they've built. And by the time early episodes wrap, watchers sense that this isn't reality TV about paradise. It's about emotional endurance in real time. Season 7's dramatic highlights aren't for spectacle alone. They're windows into intimacy breaking, resilience tested, and relationships pushed to the edge. Viewer reactions to Season 7 of 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way are shaping up to be as intense as the drama on screen. While this specific spinoff hasn't spurred a flood of dedicated Reddit commentary yet, broader fan discussions across the 90-Day universe reveal recurring frustration and intrigue over themes that repeatedly appear in the Other Way format. Cultural missteps, recycled couples, financial strain, and emotional exhaustion. One Reddit thread summed up the sentiment. I get the criticism, but to me, it's still a whole lot better than the spin-offs with the awful recycled cast members. Fans seem torn. They're eager for fresh drama and new cultural clashes, but weary of repetitive arcs and recurring pairings. That tension makes returning couples like Jenny and Sumit and Luke and Meline lightning rods for both hopeful and skeptical feedback. The most pointed commentary emerges when trusted fans suspect emotional manipulation or uneven power dynamics. As one user provocatively observed about a prior season's couple's behavior, the clip shows that she consistently hits him. The fact that he flinched when she was mad makes me assume it's not the case. While that comment specifically concerned a different couple, fans clearly scrutinized every touch, glance, and argument for signs of abuse, especially in volatile relationships reminiscent of Luke and Madeline's explosive fight. Even when not referencing The Other Way directly, Reddit feedback around 90 Day shows echoes of core themes: couples unprepared for cross-cultural immersion, unrealistic financial expectations, and underestimated emotional labor. One post complained about couples lacking cultural or religious awareness. Absolutely no research of her partner's culture and religion, no regard to anything except her feelings. Applied to season 7, that commentary foreshadows potential conflict in Pattaya's adaptation to Tasmania, Greta's fit in a traditional English household, or Khloe's learning curve in Aruba's flirt-heavy tourist culture. Criticism of editing and narrative bias also comes up often. Fans remark that producers sometimes frame complicated relay dynamics to favor one partner or heighten dramatic effect, suppressing nuance in favor of spectacle. As one Reddit poster put it when discussing another couple, Brian treats her awful, then he tells her, "I don't hate you," as if it was all her fault. While that comment specifically concerned a different couple, fans clearly scrutinize every touch, glance, and argument for signs of abuse, especially in volatile relationships reminiscent of Luke and Madeline's explosive fight. Even when not referencing the other way directly, Reddit feedback around 90-day shows echoes of core themes: couples unprepared for cross-cultural immersion, unrealistic financial expectations, and underestimated emotional labor. One post complained about couples lacking cultural or religious awareness. Absolutely no research of her partner's culture and religion, no regard to anything except her feelings. Applied to season 7, that commentary foreshadows potential conflict in Pattaya's adaptation to Tasmania, Greta's fit in a traditional English household, or Khloe's learning curve in Aruba's flirt-heavy tourist culture. Criticism of editing and narrative bias also comes up often. Fans remark that producers sometimes frame complicated relay dynamics to favor one partner or heighten dramatic effect, suppressing nuance in favor of spectacle. As one Reddit poster put it when discussing another couple, Brian treats her awful, then he tells her, "I don't hate you," as if it was all her fault. Though that comment specifically concerned a different couple, fans clearly scrutinize every touch, glance, and argument for signs of abuse, especially in volatile relationships reminiscent of Luke and Madeline's explosive fight. Across spaces like Reddit and Twitter, fan sentiment seems to be one part enthusiasm, one part exhaustion. They're excited about new countries and narratives, yet tempered by past patterns, expecting more real cultural immersion, less recycled drama, and smarter editing that shows emotional context beyond the blow-ups. In other words, fans enter season 7 hopeful for fresh chemistry and meaningful outcomes, but ready to call out fatigue, performative emotion, or any sense of relationships being gaslit for entertainment. It creates a delicate balance. These couples must deliver both new emotional stakes and authentic progression, or risk being dismissed by a savvy, jaded audience. Season 7's reaction poll suggests that while drama hooks attention, authenticity keeps it, and fans are watching closely to see whether this season delivers both. As season 7 of 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way arrives on September 8th, the buzz isn't just about cultural shock. It's about whether love can survive under pressure. Based on early reactions and narrative setup, here's what viewers might expect. Stronger adaptability may determine which couples thrive. Greta's warm banter with Matthew hides a deeper gulf. Adjusting to life under one roof with his parents in rural England seems poised to reveal tension between Oklahoma independence and British household expectations. Similarly, Patia's theatrical personality might struggle against Tasmania's quiet rhythms and her boyfriend Dylan's mother's constant presence, and these generational and cultural spikes could be decisive. Financial strain and burnout feel like ticking clocks. Anthony and Mannon arrive already burnt out and with a toddler in tow. Their living situation, minimal space, childcare pressure, stiff financial demands is a short fuse waiting to ignite. The question, will this move genuinely reset their marriage or just reroute exhaustion overseas? Luke and Medalin's wedding extravagance with 4 dresses and 0 compromise might also implode if budget stress and trust breakdown persist. Trust is already fragile in more ways than one. Khloe's anxiety about Johnny's flirtatious job roles, flirting with tourists as a booze cruise pirate guide, might unfold into jealousy-driven escalation, especially under Aruba's tight living conditions. Meanwhile, the volatile link between Medallion and Luke, culminating in the dessert-smashing blow-up over suspected infidelity, signals that this storyline will be a trust minefield. Explosive accusations and fragile emotional thresholds loom large. Returning favorites carry momentum and risk. Jenny and Sumit's living situation, sharing the household with his parents, revives fan concerns about generational judgment and loss of independence. Live-in family friction could reignite past conflicts even as financial relief helps, especially as fans critique their repeated appearances and question what fresh angle exists. Likewise, Luke and Medallion carry narrative weight. Their prior TLC history means they must deliver emotional progression, not just the same explosive trust issues fans have seen before. What to watch for? Which couples show true emotional growth? And who stalls under pressure? Financial fights, cultural faux pas, or burnout could become turning points. How do family dynamics shift power? In Greta's shared UK house or Jenny's Indian household, boundaries will be tested. Trust repair or collapse. Khloe and Johnny's flirtation friction and Luke and Medallion's dessert drama suggest trust could be the season's fragile core. And ultimately, who walks the walk beyond drama? If adaptation, compromise, and identity shifts don't follow emotional blow-ups, audiences may reject superficial conflict cycles. In short, Season 7 isn't just romance on paper. It's a motivational test in survival, identity, and emotional endurance, and the couples best equipped to evolve might just be the ones who last. Season 7 of 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way lands on September 8th, 2025, with a dramatic lineup that highlights a critical truth. Love can bring you across oceans, but it doesn't guarantee survival through the storms of culture, family, finances, and mistrust. 6 couples arrive with hope, but by the end of early episodes, it's hard to shake the feeling that few are ready for the emotional endurance test ahead. Greta and Matthew face slow-burn cultural strain in an English village, while Anthony and Mannon spiral under burnout and shared bed stress with a toddler in tow. Khloe and Johnny grapple with the consequences of Johnny's flirt-based job, as jealousy collides with isolation in Aruba. Across the ocean, Paya adjusts to Tasmania's quietism and Dylan's mother literally living next door. Jenny and Sumit endure the sharp edges of family judgment within Sumit's household in India, and Luke and Meline teeter between wedding fantasy and trust implosion, highlighted by the viral dessert-in-the-face meltdown. What ties these stories together isn't sunshine or spectacle, but emotional stakes. Will couples who live under scrutiny, budget collapse, and cultural dislocation adapt or implode? The show's promise isn't voyeuristic entertainment. It's raw emotional communication in foreign settings where comfort is out of reach. We want to hear from you. Vote for the couple you think will survive this challenge, or the one you're rooting for to break free. Drop your predictions in the comments. Who will build resilience? Who will collapse under pressure? And which story resonates most with your own experiences? Will trust rebuild, or will relocation reveal too many unresolved cracks? If you enjoy this breakdown, smash that like button, subscribe to TheFame, and hit the bell so you don't miss our upcoming deep dives, reaction videos, tell-all coverage, and follow-up interviews. Stay tuned for our next video, Who Won Other Way Season 7. We'll break down fan favorites, share the most shocking moments, and bring updates on which couples are still together.